शङ्करांश भूम शङ्करार्यपीठसद्गुरून् शुद्धसत्त्वभासुरान् सुवर्त्मनीतभूसुरान् सर्वभूतसौख्यदान् क्षमाकरान् यतीश्वरान्।
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रीगुरुचरणद्वन्द्वम् इतदुस्सहद्वन्द्वम् भ्रान्तिग्रहोपशान्तिं पांसुमयं यस्य भसितमातनुते. So here now we are in the 19th shloka. The shloka reads this: idam iti pratite vastuni sarvatra badhyamanepi anidam abadhyam tattvam tasmad etasya nacha parokshatvam. So the Atma Surupam can never become mediate in the sense it can never become unknown, in the sense it can never become something which is unexperienced by any of us. So the nature of the Atman is that it is ever experienced by us. So it is never an object of experience, but it is ever experienced by us. In the sense, it is the very experience itself. That's what has been taught in the previous shlokas. We do get the knowledge of something else outside the body, from the world, but then all that is experienced, no doubt. But then the one that is behind getting all these experiences is pure experience, and that experience can never become an object. So that was what has been very clearly affirmed in the earlier slokas. So here now another dimension of that is being spoken of. Idam iti pratite vastuni sarvatra badhyamanepi. So even though all the objects have become can be negated, all the objects that can be spoken of as this or that and all that, all those things can be negated in the sense that they are not the Atman, because the Atman can never be this or that. So on that basis, even after having negated all of them, anidam abadhyam tattvam tasmad etasya nacha parokshatvam. This Atma tattvam is never this or that. It is the contrast of this or that. So this Atman can never become this object. So it is ever the subject. So it is anidam. Idam is object. Anidam is subject. So which cannot be the object. So anidam, that is the Atman, that is the subject, that can never be negated, because negation can happen only of that which is not you. That is, there has to be a person who is negating everything, and that negating person can negate everything that he is not. And here in the context of Vedanta, all that the negating entity is not, is including the body-mind complex. So the body-mind complex also is something, an object to the Atman, that is the Sakshi. So all that can be negated. But then the negating Surupam, that is the Atma Surupam, that can never ever be negated. So that is Abadhyam, Tattvam, Tasmat Etasya Nacha Parokshatvam. So because of that, this Atman can never become Paroksha. Paroksha in the sense it can never become immediate at all. It is always ever immediate. So on that there is a Vyakhyanam. I told the last class that sloka number 19, 20 and 21. These three slokas are missing in the scan that we have now of the Sanskrit commentary. So fortunately we have a Hindi commentary which has a very good explanation. It is quite good, and it is quite dependable. A very good scholar has written that. So here in this sloka, for this sloka, the Vyakhya is like this. Idam iti pratite vastuni. For that portion, the Vyakhyanam is यह है, इस प्रकार दृश्य वस्तु के दो बार इदम कहने से कार्य उपाधि और कारण उपाधि समझना. So here idam, twice that word idam has come. So what is the significance of that of the idam being stated there in two times? For that the explanation is that this one idam refers to the karya upadhi, and the other one refers to karana upadhi. I will explain what those two are. He himself is going to explain. Karya upadhi ka artha hai panchakosh, और कारण उपाधि का अर्थ है माया. So karyam is actually the one which has been produced, which is a product, which is an effect of the Panchabhutas. And Karana means the cause of the Panchabhutas. So the effect of the Panchabhutas is called Karyam, and the cause of the Panchabhutas is called Karana, and that Karana is Maya. So the Panchabhutas are the effect of Maya, that is the Mula Prakriti, and there is a process by which the Panchabhutas are produced. The Panchabhutas are first produced in a very, very extremely subtle manner, subtle way, but after that, in the subtle form, and after that, they have to undergo a process called Panchikaranam, by which they become gross. It's called grossification or quintuplication or grossification in English. Panchikaranam happens, and after that only the world that we see now, that is the Bhautika Prapancha, the physical world that we see now, is possible only because of the grossification. In the subtle form, the Panchabhutas will not appear to us as this gross world. So here, the Karyam is the effect, that is the effect of Panchabhutas, that the body-mind complex, and the whole world also can be taken. And the Karanam is the Maya. So one idam refers to the Panchakoshas, and the other idam refers to the cause of all this, that is the Maya. So when these two have been negated, that is the idea here. So the Panchakoshas have been negated, and the cause of the Panchakoshas, that is the Maya, that also has to be negated, because all of them constitute the Anatma. So the Anatma, in one category called Anatma, there are two groups. One group is called the Karya Upadhi, the other one is called Karana Upadhi. So these two together constitute the Anatma. And the Anatma has to be negated. Why have we to negate the Anatma? Because for the reason that we have got the identification of I identification with the Anatma. So that Anatma, along with its Karyam and Karanam, both aspects have to be negated. Only then we can have the residue, that is the Atman, which can never be negated. So मन बुद्धि इंद्रियादि को से ग्राह्य वस्तु के सर्वत्र बाध्यमाने अपि सब अवस्थाओं में बाधित होने पर भी जागृत अवस्था का स्वप्न तथा सुषुप्ति में बाध होता है, स्वप्न का जागृत और सुषुप्ति में बाध होता है, और सुषुप्ति का जागृत और स्वप्न में बाध हो जाता है। अतः ये अवस्थाएं व्यभिचारी होने से मिथ्या है, इस मायिक प्रपंच का बाध होने पर भी. So that is the idea of that section of the sloka. So what he says is the experienced world, that the objectified world can be seen as three states. The entire objectified world comes within the range of these three states. That is the waking state called Jagrat, the Swapna state called dream state called Swapna, and the sleep state called Sushupti. So in these three states, the whole of the Prapancha is the whole of the world, experienced world or a perceptible world is it is there. It can be encapsulated within these three states. And here also within these states or three states also, the Sushupti state has to be seen as the seed state. That is a seed for the Swapna and the Jagrat, and the Swapna is the subtle part and the Jagrat is the gross part. So we experience the gross world in the waking state through the five sense organs and the five motor organs and the mind and all that. But then when we go to the dream state, the gross world is not experienced, and the sense organs and the motor organs which are available for experiencing the gross world, they are also not available in the dream state because they have become lapsed. They have lapsed into the cause. So the dream state is a state where the mind concocts a world, and in that world the mind produces the seer, the seeing, and the seen, and all the activities and all that is created by the mind only through vasanas. So the vasanas have a lot of play in the dream production. So the dream state is a subtle state, and the waking state is the gross state, and the deep sleep state is the seed state for both the subtle and the gross states. So that's how we have to understand these states. So now the Acharya is saying here the three states, they cancel out themselves also. So how that cancellation happens, he is demonstrating in the three states. Any one state we are experiencing, and a person can experience only one state at a time, and during that time, the other two states are not there. So they can't be experienced. In the sense that means that they are not available for experience. That means they don't have existence at all. Even though they may be said that they are in a subtle seed form or a subtle form, still our experience is not the experience. They are not available for their experience during one state. So in the same way, in the dream state, the waking and the deep sleep state are not experienced, and in the deep sleep state, the waking and the dream are not experienced. So this way, the logic behind saying that the states are cancelling out themselves and therefore they are not existent really, the logic is that anything to be stated to be really existent, and it has to exist forever. So if it is existing only for a intermittent period, that cannot be stated to be real existence at all. So for this also, Advaitins have got a logic, that is, Ado antecha yan nasti vartamanepi tattatha. That is, Gaudapadacharya has given that logic. So that which is not in the beginning and that which is not in the end, in the middle, in the meantime also, that is the middle period also, it only appears to be existing but not really existing. So we can take the case of a dream also. So the dream state is there. We experience a dream, no doubt. But then the dream state had a beginning. That is, when we were experiencing waking, dream state was not there. When we were experiencing deep sleep, dream state was not there. So dream state has a beginning, and dream state definitely has an end. So we wake up from a dream, or we lapse into deep sleep from a dream. That's also possible. So in any case, dream has a beginning and dream has an end. So at the beginning, that is the beginning time, at the time of beginning, before beginning, dream was not there. After dream has ended, dream ceases to be there. So what dream was experienced in the meantime only, in the meanwhile only, but then that existence also is not real existence, it is only a seeming existence. So this is the logic. So what is not there in the beginning and what is not there in the end, in the middle also, it has to be deemed to be not existing at all because of this logic. So something which is not in the beginning and it is not in the end, in the middle, it cannot be there really. So it can only be an appearance only. So in the same way, the same logic is applied to the waking also. So the waking also has a beginning, because in the dream state, the waking was not there. Only after the dream ended, the waking begins. And in the deep sleep state, the waking was not there. Only when the deep sleep ends, when we wake up, the waking state starts. And the waking state has an end when we lapse into dream or when we lapse into deep sleep. So that way, when we apply this logic to all the three states, we come to the conclusion that all the three states are appearing only in the meantime, and they only appear to be there, but they are not really there because they have got a beginning and end. So this is the logic here. So all the three states cancel out each other, and these three states can be very clearly said to be not there at all. So the entire samsara experience is there within these three states only. So when we have concluded that the three states are not there really existing, the samsara also is not existing really. The bondage is experienced only in these three states. But then the bondage is experienced in dream and deep sleep as sukha, dukkha and all that. Whereas in deep sleep, the bondage remained in a seed form. So in the seed form, it was not experienced naturally. Only when it takes a subtle form and a gross form, samsara can be experienced, bondage can be experienced. So the experience of bondage, which is confined to these three states, and when these three states have been very clearly negated upon this logic as taught, the samsara can be easily said to be non-existence or only appearing to exist. That's all. So this much has been stated in this portion of this sloka. Then the next portion of the sloka, anidam abadhyam tattvam. For that, the Acharya explains, jo idam tattva nahi hai, uska baad nahi hota. So that which can never be objectified, that can never be negated, because there has to be a negator who is different from what is being negated. So what can be negated can only be an object, and the subject who is the negator can never be negated. So the subject can never become the object at all. So the subject can never become can never be subject to negation at all. So jo idam tattva nahi hai, that is Atman can never be idam. So idam is object. So only the three states can be idam, and the world can be idam, the bondage can be idam, all experiences can be idam. But then the one which illumines the idam, the one which experiences this idam, that can never be idam at all. So that is called anidam. So it's the opposite of that. So uska baad nahi hota. So the anidam, that is the subject, experiencing subject, that can never be negated at all. So that uska bada is negation, nahi hota. Anidam उपलक्षण है, उपलक्षण से कहा है अतादृशम इत्यादि भी, जिनको in the 18th sloka we had seen that Atman is not of this type or that type or there or here or that much or this much and all that. So all these descriptions can be are possible only in the object but not in the subject. So we can only see something before us and say it is like this or it is like that. So it is of this much, of that much quantity and things like that. Whereas the one who illumines all these things, that can never have this much or that much, and those descriptions cannot apply to the one which is illumining this. So atadrisham इत्यादि भी जिनको श्लोक में कहा है साथ समझना. So we have to take that from the 18th sloka and then understand what has been what is being discussed here. That's what he says in this explanation. Then प्रयोजन है यह कि जिस तत्व को यह वह ऐसा वैसा इतना उतना आदि भेदवाचक प्रत्यय निरूपित नहीं कर सकते, यह तत्व अबाध्य है. So that which cannot be labeled as this or that much or this much or then now and all that can never be negated at all, because the one which is illumining these things does not fall into the category of this much, that much, and that this and all that. So whatever happens, whether the world is experienced in the gross state or experienced in the subtle state in the dream state or experienced in the deep sleep, that is seed state in the deep sleep, all those things are only objects, the experiencer, but they can never become the subject. So the experiencer is always different from them and untouched by them. So that also has to be remembered. So अबाध्य है. नेति नेति वाक्य से यह आत्मा नहीं है, यह आत्मा नहीं है, इस प्रकार जिसका बाद हो जाए वो तो इदमादि शब्दों से निर्दिष्ट होता है, परंतु इन सब का अधिष्ठान जो है, जो कि मनोवाचा में गोचर है, उसका बाद नहीं होता है. So here again he is giving more points from the Vedanta. So neti neti is the famous Shruti Vakyam, where the Shruti itself uses it twice. That is, it is worded that way, neti neti. So neti neti again says that this is Atma. So whatever we encounter in the world, we have to negate them as this is not Atma, because when we encounter, when we have understood that we are encountering something, what we are doing is we have grasped something through the sense organs. So when we see some object which is of a color, of a form, or which is a sound, or which is a taste, or whatever, so that becomes an object, and that we have grasped through our sense organs, and that can never be the Atma. So that's what is being stated here. So whatever we encounter can never be the Atma as it is. But then we might have a question might arise: how do you say that Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma? How do you say that everything is Brahman? On the one hand, you say whatever you objectify is not Brahman, and on the other hand, you say that everything is Brahman. So these two appear to be contradictory. So we have to understand them in the correct perspective. So when we say that whatever we encounter is not the Atman, what we say is whatever we encounter as this or that, or as objects, as possessing color or shape and size and sound and all that, that is not the Atman. But then when we say Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, that which is the substratum of all that we encounter, that is Brahman. So the substratum is what is called as what becomes the subject matter of the Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, but then the superimposed is the one which becomes the subject matter of Neti Neti. So this way we can very clearly understand and remember also. So the substratum, that is the Adhishtanam, which is the subject matter of Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma, whereas the Aropitam, that is the name form, Namarupa, that is the subject matter of Neti Neti. So this way we can easily grasp this concept. So इस प्रकार जिसका बाद हो जाए वो तो इदमादि शब्दों से निर्दिष्ट होता है. So whatever is negated, that falls into the category of this, that, and all that. Whereas परंतु इन सब का अधिष्ठान जो है, the one which is substratum of all this, मनोवाचा में गोचर है. That is, it cannot be grasped by the mind, or it cannot be grasped by the by word and all that, speech and all that. That is what is the Atman, which is so by manovacham agocharam. What is meant is it can never be objectified. That's what is meant here. So when Atma is said to be manovacham agocharam, manas also cannot make objectify the Atman. The vak also cannot be objectify the Atman, and that way no sense organ can or motor organ can objectify the Atman. So what that means is the Atman is the Atman never ever becomes the object of any sense or sense perception. So uska baad nahi hota hai. So that can never become that can never be negated at all, because as we have seen earlier, whatever can be negated can only become whatever is our object, only that can be negated. But what can never become the object, what is ever the subject, that can never be negated. Then Atma Rupi. So now he is giving a very nice analogy. This analogy is the screen and the painting drawn on this, made of a painting on the screen, or the screen on which a film is projected. So I'll just read out these lines. It's very easy for us to relate to this analogy because it's quite popular. So Atma Rupi Pat is the cloth. That is a canvas on which Nanatma Jagat Chitrit hai. So the world of duality or variety is painted on the cloth called Atma. So this is the subject matter of the Chitra Deepam, which is a chapter in the Panchadashi, where Bhagavat Swami Vidyaranya beautifully demonstrates all this with the background of Mandukya Upanishad and all that. That's a beautiful chapter by itself. So here the Chitrapata example is given. So Pata is cloth canvas on which this painting is made. वे चित्र उदय होते हैं, अस्त होते हैं, परंतु वो पर्दा जो का क्यों अविकारी रहता है. So this चित्र उदय होते हैं. So the canvas didn't have the painting before. The painting was created on the cloth, and if someone wants to remove the painting with some paint remover or some solution, then the painting is gone, the cloth is there. So the cloth is never affected whether the painting is there, or the painting is not there. The cloth remains undisturbed or unaffected. So that's what is said here. Adhikari रहता है. अपनी अग्नि के दृश्य से cinema. Now he is shifting to the cinema screen and the projection, whatever cinema is projected on that. So अग्नि के दृश्य से सिनेमा का पर्दा नहीं जलता. So when we see a scene where there is a huge fire, inferno, the screen is intact, so that doesn't get burnt at all. Then na varsha se bhigta hai. So when there is a huge heavy rain or a flood and all that, still the screen doesn't become wet at all. Na talwaron ka झंझनाहटों से कटता है. So when there is a fighting scene between soldiers with their swords and all that, still the screen never get cut. Then न प्रचंड वायु से कंपित होता है. So even if there is a whirlwind and all that, heavy winds, the screen never shakes at all. So वो पर्दा चलचित्र का अधिकारी आधार है. So this screen is the basis or the substratum for this movie, which is movie. It's called a movie because it keeps moving. So the screen never moves at all, but then the film on that projector on that moves. And there are so many things happening in the movie, but then those things never ever affect the screen. So this is what it is. And only because the screen is there, the movie is possible. So that also we have to remember. Only because this Adhisthana Brahman is there, the Jagat Vyapara, the bondage is possible at all. So if the screen Atma were not there, this Jagat could not have happened at all. The samsara could not have happened at all. So that is why the Vedanta so nicely rejects the world, or negates the world and retains the Atman, which can never be ever be negated. So uska baad nahi hota. मैं जागृत को now he is saying he is relating the subject with the object. So the subject is the Atma, the object is the three states. That is, the triad of states is the object. So now he's articulating it. मैं जागृत को जानने वाला हूँ, मैं स्वप्न का भी ज्ञाता हूँ, मैं सुषुप्ति मूर्छा समाधि का भी ज्ञाता हूँ. So I am the witness or the experiencer of the waking. I am also the experiencer of the dream, and I am also the experiencer of the deep sleep state. So we can definitely relate to this very clearly. So I had a very nice dream when I slept last night. So now I am recalling that. So now in the waking, I am recalling that. So if I have to recall the waking dream now in the waking, I should have been there to experience the dream before. So I have existed there then. But then the dream itself is not existing now. It is not continuing. It is nowhere now. But still, I was there when it happened. So the dream was there experienced by me, but the dream is not there now. But I remain intact. So in the same way, the one who is recollecting now the dream and sound sleep last night, I am the one who will be entering sleep or entering dream later. So this way we can relate to the three states as the experiencer, and the three states always remain on the objective side. So जागृत स्वप्नादि का बाद हो जाता है, पर मेरा बाद नहीं होता. So the triad of states, they become negative. They keep negating. They keep negated always. But then the Atma, who is the negator, or the Atma, who is the witness, remains unnegated or unnegatable also. Tasmat etasya nacha parokshatvam. That is the conclusion of this shloka. So इसलिए इस अबाध्य तत्व ब्रह्म को मुझसे भिन्नता नहीं है. So this Brahman, which can never ever be negated, that Brahman is not ever different from me at all. Because if Brahman were said to be different from me, then Brahman also will become some object. Brahman also will become jada, and it will also become something which is created, and it will also become something which is ephemeral. But then that all these things are not there. The Shruti doesn't teach Brahman this way. And the Lakshanam of Brahman is going to be taught in the next shloka. We will be seeing that in next class. So Brahma ko mujhe se भिन्नता नहीं है. Brahman can never ever be distinct from me, different from me. वो तत्व स्वयं साक्षी है, उससे भिन्न होकर कोई नहीं जाग सकता. So जान सकता. So this Brahman can never be an object at all. And being different from the Brahman, from Brahman, one can never ever object away Brahman. इसलिए ब्रह्म का एक लक्षण अपरोक्षता है. So the conclusion is Brahman, one attribute. We are superimposing an attribute here. Attribute-less Brahman. So one attribute of Brahman is its being immediate. Aparoksha. Aparoksha means which is something immediate, which has to be known through some medium, like eyes or mind or something like that. Whereas Brahman can never become paroksha at all. It is always aparoksha. That is, it is always immediate. So immediate is it has to be known through some medium, whereas immediate is something which cannot be known through any medium, which is itself the one which objectifies the medium and objectifies the whatever is known through the medium. So that is the way Brahman has to be known, and Atman also has to be known that way only, and that Atman is not different from Brahman. So that shloka number 19 is over. So 20th we will take up in the next class. We will read out the 19th shloka once again. idamiti pratite vastuni sarvatra badhyamanepi anidam abadhyam tattvam tasmat etasya nacha parokshatvam. Shri Guru Charana Dvandvam Vandeham Matita Dussahadvandvam Bhranti Grahopashantim Pam Sumayam Yasya Bhasitam Artanute Shastram Sharira Mimamsa Devastu Parameshwaraha Acharya Shankaracharya Santume Janma Janmani Vidya Vinaya Sampannam Vitaragam Vivekinam Vande Vedanta Tatvajnam Vidushekara Bharati. Om Tat Sat.